My boyfriend's friends thought I couldn't understand them, and honestly, I wish I couldn't. Zach had been talking about this dinner party for like 3 weeks straight because he was really excited for me to meet his friends. When we walked into his friend Cole's apartment, these 3 guys on the couch just stared at me like they were deciding if I was worth their time. Cole got up and shook my hand with this fake smile. So you're the girlfriend. Cool. Ben waved from the couch without standing up, and Jimmy didn't even look up from his phone. Real welcoming energy. Then Cole said something in Korean and the other 2 started laughing. I smiled and sat down on the chair Zach pointed to. The second we started eating, things got ugly fast. Ben looked right at me and said in Korean, "Dude, she's not even cute. What is he thinking?" Cole laughed and went, "I know, right? Her face is so plain it looks like a potato." I was literally sitting 3 feet away from them. I reached for the water and asked Zach how his day was. Jimmy leaned over to Ben and said in Korean, "Does she even have a job or is she just leeching off him?" Ben snorted and added in Korean, "Probably. Look at those clothes. Walmart clearance rack vibes." Cole poured himself some wine and said in Korean, "Remember when he dated that girl Rachel? Now she was hot. She had that good job too. What was it, finance?" Zach actually answered in Korean, "Yeah, she was a financial analyst. She made real good money." My stomach dropped. He was joining in. Jimmy grinned and said in Korean, "What does this one do? Let me guess. Barista at Starbucks?" They all cracked up and Zach smiled like he thought this was funny. I was an international corporate lawyer, but sure, Starbucks. Cole refilled his glass again and said in Korean, "Okay, real talk. How long is this lasting?" "I'm saying 2 months tops." Ben pulled out his phone and went, "Bet." "I'm saying 6 weeks." Jimmy typed something and said in Korean, "3 weeks. She seems needy." They were literally creating a group chat right there to bet on my relationship. I wanted to scream. Cole asked Zach in English, "So what does she do for work anyway?" Zach shrugged and went, "I think some business thing I don't really know." Ben immediately switched to Korean and said, "Translation, she's unemployed and embarrassed about it." Jimmy added in Korean, "Or she works at a call center or something equally depressing." Cole nodded and said in Korean, "She's definitely just waiting for him to pay for everything. I mean, look at her. She has gold digger vibes for sure." Ben leaned back and said in Korean, "Zach, real talk bro, you need to end this before she gets attached. Girls like her get obsessive. They start planning weddings after like 2 dates." Zach replied, "I mean, it's not serious. I'm just seeing what happens." Jimmy raised his glass and said in Korean, "To Zach's placeholder girlfriend. May she disappear quietly and quickly." Cole went, "Cheers to that." They all clinked glasses, including Zach. I watched him drink and smile at his friends like this was totally normal. Cole put his glass down and said in Korean, "Honestly, Zach, you're too good for this. You could be dating a model, lawyer, or doctor, but instead you're here with this ugly girl who probably can't hold a job." I was done listening to this. I set my fork down very carefully and looked directly at Cole. In perfect Korean, I said, "Your Korean is embarrassing. You sound like a 7-year-old who forgot half his vocabulary." The entire room went silent and Zach's hand rose with his glass in the air. I continued in Korean, looking at each of them. "I'm an international corporate lawyer. I lived in Seoul for 2 years working on multi-million-dollar deals. I speak Korean, Japanese, and Mandarin fluently." Jimmy's mouth was hanging open. Cole looked like he was going to be sick, and Ben made this weird choking sound. I pulled out my phone and showed them my LinkedIn. "Here's my profile. Here are my credentials, and here are recommendations from CEOs. You'll never be important enough to meet." I switched to English and turned to Zach. "And you just sat here and laughed while they insulted my appearance, my career, and my intelligence." His face went red. "We're done." I stood up and grabbed my jacket off the back of the chair. Zach went, "Wait, let me explain." But I was already walking to the door. Cole tried to say something in Korean, but I cut him off. "Don't bother, I heard everything I needed to hear." I walked out, and the second I was in my car, I blocked Zach's number.